we have an upper model. We have a lower model. Set this down for a second. Now, these are the bite registrations that we took in the patient's mouth. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to loosen. I don't know if that is the right level for that. Cindy did. All right, so what I'm going to do in this articulator, I'm going to loosen 4 screws. I'm going to loosen this screw.
What is that for?
This screw. This is the vertical element. Raises
okay.
up and down. Okay. This one on the top, what it does is it loosens this top member so it'll rotate freely.
Gotcha.
Okay. And on the lower, we're going to loosen this screw so the lower one will rotate freely. So now we have everything like this. Okay.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our centric relation bites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that we've trimmed so there's no little marks or anything. This is futar that we've used, and we're going to fit those onto our models.
You'll show me that material later.
I can do that. Just got to find the right arch and the right one. Okay, so we're going to fit them onto our models.
And what is And what are the bites for? They're going to simulate the night guard.
Their centric relation reading, so where their joint should be, ideally. Okay. So we're going to get those on the models. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the upper and I'm going to gauge the upper like such. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm going to hold this bite together. Okay, on each side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down on the top. Okay. Make sure this is held together, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to tighten the 4 screws. Okay, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Okay. Go back, make sure they're all tight.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, once I've got those down, I can take my bites out. And now what you're going to see is this is our vertical that we have. Okay?
Okay.
Now what I want to do is I want to figure out how thick or how I want my bite splint. And you can see it's pretty close right there.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to open her up a little bit. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to screw this pin up and say, okay, maybe I want her bite that thick.
Okay.
And then I lock my little pin, the little wheel here. Okay? So that's where we're going to make her. Now I'm going to determine that for a couple ways. Okay, I can lock this out. Now the nice thing about this little articulator, and it's called Enzo articulator, so I can go through excursions.
Okay.
Okay.
You can slide it.
And slide it. So after I get my bite splint, I can calibrate it. I can do protrusive. Okay. So now once I've got my vertical stop.
Doctor, can I ask you a question? How do you determine the space that you want?
Well, I want to make sure, like for instance, if I look back here in the very back, you'll see I have limited space between those two. Yes. So what I want to make sure is that I've got enough thickness of material.
Gotcha.
So if I've only got 2 millimeters, that means when I thermoform that down, I may have, half a millimeter soft and then whatever and hard. I want to have enough space because your jaw closes on an arc like this. Okay? So it's always going to be thinner back here when you hit first. So we want to have enough thickness so I can grind it in if I need to. And that they're not going to wear a hole through it. Perfect. Or I'm not going to melt a hole. But this is my stop that I've set. Now this is where I'm going to make my bite splint to.
Gotcha. Okay?
So now once I do that, I'm going to remove this from the base plate. Okay? We're going to take our model off. Okay? Now what I'm going to do very simply is because I've got this model, I can really use the top part of this and embed it in the pellets in this part.
Oh, I see.
Okay? Because I just want to embed it. I want to keep this high. So what I would do is I'll put a little base of the pellets here. Okay, now what I told you, let me get the base plan, is I want you to get a case pan, and this is what a case pan is.